Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UENradio.com.
It's time for the Bonnie Sher Show, a whirlwind of wit, wisdom, celebrity, and the boomer life. With a little bit of this and a lot of that and so much more you don't want to miss, here's Bonnie.
And here we are again. Well, hello. Thank you all for tuning in and dropping by. I'm Bonnie Sher. This is the Bonnie Sher Show. And I'm here as your host today to take you through the worlds of celebrity, the great boomer life, and of course, the world and laughs of being a type 1 diabetic. Not a lot of laughs, but boy, we have a fellow here with us today who will definitely make you laugh. But before I get ahead of myself, which I tend to do on a regular basis, I want to tell you that we appreciate it if y'all want to call in. Y'all, when did I turn Southern? Chicago. I'm from South Chicago. It's Southern. Okay. No, I'm really not. But I am from Chicago, near North. Anyway, listen, if you feel like it, why don't you call in with any questions that you might have? Our call-in number here at UBN in Studio 2 is 323-843-2826. Or you can tweet the hashtag, which is #BSHER radio. Now, before we get the show on the road, I'd like to acknowledge Grammy-winning the jazz great Wayne Cobham for our Super Duper theme song. And, of course, a shout to Corey Bowen of Crown and Anchor Jewelry. You can follow Corey on Twitter for more information on the pieces, which they allow me to wear in exchange for this promotional message. Or you can always hit me up and I can connect the two of you. When we come back, don't move. Diabetes alert dog trainer, scent detection specialist, and her name is Debbie K, and she'll be right with us, and we'll be back in a few. Don't go away.
Your life story is more than the things you do. It's a story built on the moments you make today and the impact you have on others. How big is your story going to be? Live your legend.
Welcome back, and I'd like to introduce you all to Debbie K. Debbie, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Hey, thank you for taking time to spend some time talking to us about what you love and what you do. By the way, before we go any farther, I was reading your website last night, and one of my favorite things that you have written, other than the description of what you do with these lovely animals, do what you love and love what you do. Well, amen to that, Debbie.
Absolutely. That's the only way to do it.
It's a great motto. Tell us, what is it that you do?
Well, I'm a scent detection specialist. So what that means is that all of my dog training career, I have focused on how dogs use their nose. And all of the many wonderful jobs that the dogs do for us with their noses. Everything from finding pipeline leaks, of course, working with the military and with police, finding explosives, tracking down criminals, doing evidence recovery, working with a lot of biologists and people looking for different kinds of specimens that they're studying.
That's fascinating.
Ecological impact studies. I mean, I've just done a whole host of things. And about 7 years ago, I had some people approach me because they knew the work that I had been doing and the programs I had set up. And they said, hey, we're wanting to train dogs to alert to blood glucose changes in type 1 diabetics. And we're having some problems with false alerts. Now, a false alert is when the dog gives an indication that he's been trained to give when there's a glucose change, but there really isn't a glucose change. Mm-hmm. And they said, we're having all these problems. So my first question was, well, tell me about your program. And nobody had a program that they could talk about. There was no kind of organized way of training these dogs that could get reproducible results. Mm-hmm. It was sort of willy-nilly, if you will. And that's when I decided that, maybe I could help these people out by adapting what I had learned doing all of the other kinds of detection and scent work with the dogs to helping diabetics.
Well, personally, I want to say thanks for that. I know that there are scores of us who feel exactly the same way. I read that this preceded your work with Dogs for Diabetes, that you were the first one to train a dog for toxic waste. I mean, you've been all over the scoreboard here, but I guess, I listened to Cesar Millan, and he told me that the nose is the first thing you want to engage. So it made perfect. I get the scent detection thing. I mean, my dog, well, he's scent detection to chicken, green beans, and
oh yeah. There's no doubt if you talk to anyone who's owned a cat or a dog, that they will tell you all kinds of stories about the wonderful scenting capabilities of these animals. And, it's something that, to me, I feel that's one of the most special parts about our partnership with these animals is that they have that wonderful sense of smell, mm-hmm. and they're willing to use it to mm-hmm. help us. Mm-hmm. They're out there doing all this stuff all the time anyway, and they already kind of know how to do everything. But what we have to teach them, and this is what was lacking before, was a structured program to teach these dogs in a way that communicates to them. And see, that's the really special part here, is we're not teaching them how to smell. What we're teaching them is how to communicate what they're smelling to us, and we're learning how to communicate to them, this is what I need you to smell for me. And that's what the program that I put together, I call it Sweet Snoopers. And that program is designed to very clearly and easily teach these dogs what it is we need them to smell and how they should alert us when they smell that. And it also teaches people, how to communicate to the dogs, this is what I need you to do.
So if I'm correct, you only train a particular dog in one scent retrieval. Am I right?
Most of the time, I'm only training a dog to do one thing.
Uh-huh.
And especially with scent work, I only want them to do one thing. Now, I've had some clients come to me, and because of their medical condition, they may have something else going on top of the diabetes, mm-hmm, for example. Mm-hmm. And we have been somewhat successful in training the dogs to do multiple tasks for the person. A lot of this is very dependent on, number one, the dog. is it a dog that can handle multitasking? And number two, the client that's handling the dog. Okay, it has
That
nothing
makes
to do with
sense.
us being able to train a dog to do many things. That's an easy thing for a professional dog trainer. But getting the right client and the right dog together, that's the key thing right there, and that doesn't always happen.
That was my next question. I can understand that could come up. Is there anything that you look for, or not anything? What do you look for in a dog, and in the owner handler, to know that these two can be a match and they can be successful at the sniffing?
Well, I'm looking for the person. Let's deal with the person first, okay? I totally understand, because I have health issues of my own, and of course I work with people all the time that have health issues. So I totally understand how consuming a health issue can be for a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I need still somebody that, in spite of their health condition, they're willing to dedicate and devote themselves to what it's going to take in that relationship with the service dog. And that's a little bit different than just having a companion, in your life. With our companion dogs, they're kind of there.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they do something for us or not, we don't really care. We still love them, and they're there, and we like their company. But with a service dog, where we're asking them to do a job, we need a little bit more commitment from that person to do the things necessary to keep that dog doing their job. Now, from the dog's standpoint of view, I'm looking for a dog that is equally committed to working. It's the dog that gets up in the morning and looks at you with eager eyes like, okay, boss, what are we doing today? I'm ready. Let's go. All right, instead of the dog that just kind of rolls over and says, can you hit that snooze button again? I'm not ready to get up.
Right.
And we do have dogs like that. And frequently a lot of the type 1s that call me, or the parents of children who are type 1, they call and they say, it's particularly dangerous at nighttime. We're really worried about, the child going low at nighttime, or if it's an adult, they say, I live by myself. I'm really worried about going low at nighttime. And it would be so comforting to have a dog that could wake up and help me, by alerting if my glucose goes low at night. And the first thing I tell them is, not every dog is going to wake up in the middle of the night.
Right.
And that's the truth. I mean, I can't lie about that. Dogs, there are some dogs that will sleep through the night, just like some people we know will sleep through. There could be a nuclear war going outside, and they're gonna get their 8 hours of sleep. They're not going to wake up regardless.
Yes.
And there's some dogs that way.
Yeah, well,
like
mother, like dog, I guess. Debbie, I'm going to ask you to hold that thought. We've got to take a break, and when we return, I'd really like to know more about this, and also, what brought you and what influenced you to get into this line of work? So hold on, and we'll be back, according to this, in 30 seconds. Don't go away.
Since when did experience become something to hide? I say we own it. Lose all that negativity. Just let it go. It's just bad energy. Oh, and lose those terrible black balloons they give you on your 50th. What's up with that?
Hey, we hear you. That's why our members love AARP the magazine. It celebrates you with fun and provocative content, from lifestyle and entertainment to in-depth reporting. And it's just one of the great benefits of membership.
If you don't think this is right for me when you think AARP, then you don't know ARP. Get to know us at aarp.org/possibilities.
To be at peace with myself is the most prominent thing, and I am at peace with myself. I didn't deal this deck, I'm just playing the game. That's all. That's it. Meals on Wheels has given me a mode of freedom that I wouldn't have otherwise. And making sure they get the nutrition that I need, and it's a balanced meal. My name is Maurice McGriff. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
And we're back, and you are tuned to the Bonnie Sher Show, Boomer Life. This afternoon, we have the pleasure of chatting with Debbie K. So come on, join the conversation. You can call us at 1-323-843-2826. Or remember, you can always tweet the hashtag, that's #BeShareRadio. Now, let's pick up where we left off before. And I think my question was, what influenced you to make this into your life and your business? Because you got a lot of dogs there. That's a life. And they're so cute. I mean, I would trade places. I would. West Virginia sounds pretty terrific.
Well, West Virginia is a terrific state to live in. The mountains here are beautiful, and the leaves are starting to turn, so pretty soon it's going to be spectacular. But I suppose, the one image, I guess, that sticks in my mind when I was a baby and my mom was carrying me home from the hospital, and my dad had just bought a brand-new movie camera, and he was taking his first movie. And Mom's walking up on the porch of our house at the time, and I was just like 2 days old or 3 days old.
And you remember this clearly, do you?
No, only from I saw the movie. That's
Oh,
I
was going to say. I mean,
my little
I wanted to know who trained you.
But my little hand dropped down, and one of my dad's hound dogs came over and licked my hand.
And that was
a
wrap.
I guess that's what sealed my fate, that I would forever be involved with dogs. and I grew up with them, and Dad engaged me in helping him train the hounds. And growing up with hounds, you're out there watching them use their noses to unravel all of those invisible trails of scent. And it just fascinated me, and it's fascinated me all of my life, and that's kind of how I stayed in the field and got into it and stayed with it.
Well, I'm certainly very pleased that you did. Can you tell us a little more about the Super Sniffer program?
Well, the Super Sniffer program is it's an outgrowth of when I was in college, and my background is in geochemistry and geophysics. And as a scientist, I grew up with this thought that everything had to have a clear explanation, and theories and ideas needed to be tested, and they needed to be tested in a way that could prove or disprove your idea. Everything that you did should be peer-reviewed and proven that other people could reproduce your results. So that's kind of the basis behind the Super Sniffer program. And what I initiated was a way of training dogs that I can explain to other people. Other people can take my program, adapt it to the dogs that they're training it for, so it works for all breeds of dogs, not just one particular breed of dog. And it works for everybody, whether you have a disability, whether you're a child. I've worked with adults. I've worked with people in over 20 countries. So I've crossed cultural boundaries, language boundaries. I mean, it doesn't matter. I've worked with pure breeds, with mixed breeds, whatever's available. I've even trained a cat using my program. And, the idea is that it's been proven over and over again that the results are reproducible, and it's been validated by scientific studies.
Well, you just brought up one point that I want to ask you about. Can you assist people with this program who don't come to you in West Virginia? Can you work with them from afar, or is this something that you need your hands on to that dog?
Well, people can train their own scent detection dogs. I do have an online program, and I have a DVD set. Sweet Snoopers has actually been put into a 2-DVD set.
Okay, write that down, everybody. Say that name one more time, please.
Okay, so it's Sweet Snoopers, and that's with an S, .com, and you can order the DVD. It's a 2-DVD set, and it's got all of the videos and the lesson plans, and it's very clear how to go from the very first day all the way through to a finished service.
I mean, and it's not that I wouldn't love to run to West Virginia today because it's really hot here, and I'm always afraid there's going to be an earthquake. But
well, it's nice and cool here.
I'm telling you, it sounds like a win. I don't know who's going to get better training, me or my dog, but it kind of sounds like a bonus either way, Debbie.
Well, we've had people that have taken just the online course, and they've had good results. And then there's some people, because, again, different people, different skill levels, different dogs, different skill levels, that need a little hands-on coaching.
Understood.
And if they can come here, I'm happy to give them hands-on coaching. I offer workshops at various times of the year in different places, and they're willing to come to one of the workshops. I'll help them out. But there's also many people, I train now mostly trainers, and I have a lot of trainers now that have been through my program that are out there helping individuals who want to train their own dogs as well.
And will they identify themselves as part of the Super Sniffer? So
Yes.
the people
Yes,
know
they will.
exactly
And
what fashion. Yeah.
Exactly, and I'm very happy to refer people to those folks.
That's great.
You know,
Well,
we're trying to build our little network here, if you will, of people that understand what's required, and they have ways of testing. This is the main thing that I see lacking in some of the programs that I've had experiences with where the dogs are troublesome. They're not performing the way they should be, and it's from the lack of testing. And we have it built into our program several ways that you can test to make sure that the dog is performing the way the dog should be performing. And that's what the kind of assurance I think that the consumer needs. And it's also the kind of assurance that the trainer needs.
yes.
So that everybody's, on the same page, if you will.
Okay, well, speaking of pages, why don't we take a minute or so for us to let our audience know how they can follow you, how they can find you, how they can find the kennels, your Twitter, your whatever you do there. I know you're on Facebook because I found you.
You found me on Facebook.
Yes, I did.
There's Debbie K's Super Sniffer program is a page on Facebook, and I put up training tips for the days. I often will post little short training videos there to help people. So that's one place you can go to. DebbieK.com will list events, places where I'm speaking, workshops that I'm giving. It also has an online store where you could buy different training aids and products. Then there's also SweetSnoopers.com, and that website is undergoing a major change right now. It's going to be a bigger resource information center, so I'm really looking forward to the launch of that, which will be a little bit closer towards Christmas time.
Okay, well, you let us know, and we'll make an announcement
Yeah.
about that
Yeah.
too, Debbie. Well,
Okay.
Debbie, thank you so very much for taking time from your obviously busy day.
Oh, you hear the
I-
dogs barking in the
No, that
background.
was me. I just wanted to let you know I speak dog. I speak a little French, a little dog. Bird, not so much. I'm not a tweeter. Sorry. But listen, thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure. And
Well, my
keep
pleasure
doing
to
keep doing what you're doing. We need you, Debbie. Thank you so very much. And sneak a little treat to those puppies for me.
Okay, will do. Thank you. You take care.
And you. And now, I like the doggy part, but we're going to take another break right now. And as we do, what I'd like to do is acknowledge the very important work of the Diabetes Research Institute and to encourage you to please support their efforts. You know, there are millions of us type 1s, children and adults alike with diabetes who dream. We dream of a cure for this devastating disease. We dream of living without the painful finger pricks, without the insulin injections, and of course without risk of those life-threatening complications. Scientists of the Diabetes Research Institute are working hard to make that dream a reality by finding a biological cure. They're advancing research to patients, and they're changing lives. I invite you to please visit them online at diabetesresearch.org. Our song of the day is coming up. Wayne Cobham, who wrote my Super Duper theme song, is a pretty super duper Grammy-winning artist as well. So we're going to hear from him right after this.
Type 1 diabetes can be living in anyone.
Type 1 diabetes is when your pancreas doesn't produce insulin. It's not caused by your diet. It's not caused by anything you did.
Type 1 diabetes can be very serious.
Blindness, amputation.
Learn more about type 1 diabetes.
Help support JDRF finding a cure.
T1D looks like my brother.
T1D looks like a friend.
Type 1 diabetes looks like me.
He's something else, that Wayne Cobham. Well, welcome back to the Bonnie Sher Show, Boomer Life. My T1D co-host today is an old friend of the Bonnie Sher Show, and we're both, what? Old diabetics. Sorry. I know I could have made that a nicer opening for you. And here's Brad Slaight.
Thank you.
She's just saying that because I turned 30 today. Happy birthday to me.
Yeah, where's the cake?
I left her in the car.
In this weather?
Yeah, no. Oh, it is hot, by the way.
Well, is it an icebox cake?
I was over at Starbucks in Hollywood. I actually overheard somebody say it was so hot last week my implants almost melted. That's what you hear at Starbucks in Hollywood.
Everybody's working on a project.
Everybody's
right?
working on something.
Everybody's got their laptop and they're typing away, and I don't know what.
That's where all the tomorrow's screenwriters and waiters are found, in Starbucks.
So if you're in fact looking for one, that would be the best place to go.
There's not enough screenplays that are ever done, so they have to. The studio executives go from Starbucks to Starbucks, and if you're working on a laptop,
but never coffee, tea. No, they don't go.
Well, they go to Pete's, but not the coffee.
Oh, those are the strong ones.
Those are the strongest. Well, those are if you're looking for like westerns or action movies.
Big war picture.
You go to Starbucks for the comedies.
That would make sense.
See, this is tidbits that you only get on Bonnie Sher Show.
Easy for you to say.
That's what I said it is.
So tell me, Mr. Diabetic, you.
Yes.
Okay, so, all right, we're going to talk about diabetes for a minute.
Oh, for
what
a minute.
The hell?
All our
what
lives,
the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll take a break and talk about diabetes now. How many years have you been in now?
Have I been in the D Club?
Yeah.
The club nobody wants to be a member of? 32.
So
which
it's
is
a
funny.
Hotel California, you know?
Yeah, it is.
Welcome to the Hotel Diabetes.
I kind of look at it also as a Roach Motel. You get it, but you don't get out of it. See what I did there?
I did.
We both got our
see there
references.
So you've been around the block a couple times with us. Well, I don't know much about your story other than seemingly you have been without major complications thus far.
Seemingly, and that's always the thing. They tell you when you're diagnosed, your best chance of avoiding them is to stay as tight a control as possible, which isn't always possible. But then they throw that caveat in there of saying that, but even if you do that, we're not sure why some people get complications even if they're in tight control, and vice versa, that they're out of control and they never get them. So, that's the best you can do is to try, but it does take that, if I work hard, if I keep them tight, it won't happen.
Until it happens.
Until it happens.
And that always throws me for a loop.
Yeah.
I think that I'm going to do a test and it's just going to be 122.
I'm doing the right thing.
248. What?
I'm putting the time in. I'm paying my dues.
Well, we pay a lot of dues,
Every time we go to the pharmacy.
There's Jews. There's Jones.
I stopped at the bank on the way here to get a loan so I could go buy a box of test strips on the way home. That's how it works, Bonnie.
I know.
But I'm excited. I'm working on some projects. I'm a big fan of diabetes books. Because
How to be a diabetic?
Well, there's only a couple of books about diabetes out there on the market. Did you know that? My favorite one is Bullied by a Beta Cell by Dr. Otto M. Yoon. It's my favorite. So, and of course, my book, which is a bestseller, I think I've sold 5, which is Confessions of a Subcutaneous Drug Addict. That's mine, but I'm working on new ones, Bonnie.
Yes,
every
minute. Well, I promised the audience you would.
Well, in case there's a cure, and I want to ask you for your learned advice. Here's a few titles that I'm considering of books for when there is a cure. Okay.
Will we still be reading when there's a cure?
Sure. It might be digital by then.
Okay.
Here's a couple. You tell me which ones you like the best. Let Go of My Endo. See, because you wouldn't need them anymore. The Last Insulin Shot Heard Round the World. I like that one. F you, Big Pharma. That was the longest effing 5 years ever.
Wasn't it, though?
It really was. It's right around the corner.
No, the 5 year. I love that 5 year mark. In 5 years.
5 years, Brad. 5 years, Bonnie. When did you first hear that? How many years ago?
50.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah,
well, maybe they missed a 0 on there. Here's a couple more. Type Cured. Kind of like to be called that. All the confusion with people want to rename diabetes. We don't like type 1 and type 2. We need to rename it. How about Type Cured? That's what we should rename it.
I like that.
Prickless in Seattle. something that we could all kind of, I might get sued, I don't know. Hypoglycemia. See,
That's
because
cute.
it's a play on the.
She's a like of that.
And then my last one, and this is only my personal favorite: pancakes for everyone.
Yay!
There's a cure. So that's what I've been working on. What do you think? Which one tickled your, prickled your fancy?
I really kind of liked Type Cured.
Yeah,
the longest effing 5 years ever. Lego My Endo.
Lego My Endo. You know how hard it is to get one. I have the best endo too. I mean, it's so lucky. It's like finding a mechanic that you like. You know,
I've been with Dr. Drexler now. Well, I met him when we were both living in New York, and I'm going back 30 years, and it was just sort of like a coinky dinky that when I moved back to L.A. that he had left New York to come take over.
Wow.
So I was able to stay in his care. I have seen others who I think should maybe
You
look
cheated on Dr. Wexler.
I've been known.
Yeah. Somebody else pricked you.
It's only once.
That's a type 1 diabetes joke, by the way, for all you people
yeah.
out there. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an important relationship.
It is.
You know, and that doesn't mean that I'm the perfect patient all the time with him.
Really? I would find that hard to believe, that you would do anything other than
Hey, hide, here comes Bonnie. No, actually, I walked in once and I heard him chatting with another doctor from another specialty, but they were both treating me.
And
I heard them going, you tell her. No, you tell her. She'll yell at me.
Well, that's good. Well, listen, they do work for us. You know, I look at it as a team thing. Some people, you know, you can't take because you have it 24/7. They see you for about 15 minutes. You should come in prepared, bring a list of questions because you're going to them for their learned advice. But you know your body, you know what's been happening to you every day. If you're type 1, you really have no choice but to think about what's going on every day, because if you don't, you feel it
every day, every hour.
Yeah, but it's a mutual relationship, and if it doesn't work out, like any relationship, you know.
Look who's telling me that advice.
Brad, the lovelorn. No, actually, relationships are not important.
No, I have a very good relationship with my pump. And I have because I know it's never going to leave me, and probably won't yell at me too much.
Make sure it's always got a good fresh battery in it.
You mean that's why it hasn't been pumping?
I'm still MDI, which is who else watches this segment other than people with diabetes, is multiple daily injections, or most diabetics inject. That's how I sometimes call it.
Go ahead, bud.
No.
I just recently had an occasion because I thought my pump had. So, got a hold of some Lantus and.
Oh, you had to do the.
And remember that my dog's a diabetic, and he uses a different insulin altogether. So I was sitting there trying to figure out who was getting dosed for what.
You should buy him Pumpy Chow. See. I just worked that in there, and you're trying to be serious.
Oh, no.
I must apologize.
No, don't ever.
Pumpy Chow.
I mean, I can never imagine saying to anybody, don't make me laugh. I don't want to be happy. But there are a couple of days out of the month that I may not want to be terrifically happy, but very rarely.
Well, listen, I mean, I do still think, you know, all seriousness, not aside, but inside, that if we were here, if it were 1910, we probably wouldn't be here. Insulin was discovered in 1921. It took 21, but then by the time it got out to the public, it was a year later by Dr. Banting and Best and others, McLeod. And if not
a TV show, didn't he?
Yes, he did. That was McLeod. It was about a pharmacist.
I'm showing my age.
Yeah.
Well, that's too bad.
You do that when you still have to do that at 7-Eleven when you buy wine, don't you?
Who drinks?
You don't drink?
Could you imagine me on alcohol?
Well, I drink beer, but what about it interferes with that $10,000 a week heroin addiction you have, right?
I know, but I had to cut that back.
You had to cut that back a little bit. Well, these are inflationary times.
I think it's all been brought up by Congress. Oops.
Ooh.
I wasn't going to go that route.
You know, and right now, not to date the show, but there is a date on it. All the hurricanes and things. You know, what is it? These people that think that climate change, this happened, hurricanes like this happened back 300 years ago when the dinosaurs roamed the earth before they fell off the edge. So we know it isn't real.
Apparently not. On that point, though, I think that it's quite marvelous, and I will be talking about this in a moment as well, how the community of diabetics, both type 1 and type 2, which is another thing. Could we stop battling this out now?
Yes.
We all have diabetes. What the heck?
We're all in this together. We're all on the Titanic.
Do you have an outside stateroom, or you say,
I'll be the one hanging on the deck chair while Rose floats.
Do you know they don't have those anymore?
They don't.
No
more deck chair
No
jokes.
more deck chairs. No, they don't have. They're afraid they're going to blow off. Anyway.
Rose, you go ahead and take the flotation device. I'll just hang on here until half my body freezes.
Yeah, we don't do that.
I wouldn't do that. No, I don't care how good she is.
Well, all right.
It's a hurricane. I surprised you with my volume. And that's what it is with diabetes, you need to think globally but act locally. You have to, help each other as opposed to you can't solve the world's problems, but within the community, the diabetes online community, you can help each other, and that's how it's done.
We were talking, we mentioned the Beatties brothers.
Yeah,
before.
The Beattie Bros. Yeah,
they are wherever they are in the Midwest there. But I know that they put together quite a drive and then drove.
Oh, they did?
Yep.
They drove this stuff down somewhere?
Yep.
To Houston?
I would imagine.
Well, that's what it takes. I mean, and again, there's so many different groups of people in the world that's the thing about the diabetes community is that within that community, it's large, but it's also small. And these are the people that understand what you need. These are the people that
understand what will happen if you don't get it.
And what you're going through, and how hard it is to find things, especially I remember they had the earthquake out here many years ago. And first of all, they always ask, what'd you learn in the last earthquake? I learned not to sleep in the nude anymore. That's what I drag my ass out from a pile of rubble. I'm going to have a 3-piece suit on. I love that. I love rim shots. That's what she said. And so anyway, my point being is that during that time as well, I remember my first thought was grab the insulin and, go get in the car and so that if you have to survive for a few days, because you don't know if the drugstores will be looted or whatever. And
the first drug they're going for is the insulin. They're going
hey, let's get the insulin. Forget the color TVs. That's what everybody goes for. But yeah, and that's what you have to think about. Like, I don't know about you, but when there is a tremor out here, and you feel, it isn't the big one, but you go, are we going to get more? I always put my wallet, my keys, and my insulin right by the front door.
So now I know where to grab it. Right?
That's right. Now you know where to get everything I have. Well, that's what I said. These earthquake preparedness kits. My neighbors said, "Oh, we got an earthquake preparedness kit. We thought ahead. Look what we got." And I go, "Oh yeah, I thought ahead too. I got a gun. Now give me your stuff. Give me your earthquake preparedness kit."
Or you can bend over and just kiss your butt goodbye. Okay. Brad, it's a short time that we've had together, but
you aren't the first person to tell me that.
I'm going to relish every moment. I really do love having you on the show. People like us together.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Well,
it's the Brad and Bonnie Hour.
We'll have them all over for Christmas dinner.
Then you're cooking, baby.
Yeah.
Je ne Christmas cook pas anymore. I'm done with that. So let everybody know who you are, where you'll be.
DiabetesHeroSquad.com. That's all they need to know. Find me there.
Well, that's where I'm going to be looking for you. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, Bonnie, and good luck to everybody out there in diabetes world.
Stay right there. Okay, so what are we doing next? The next thing we're going to do I know we did it. We did that, and we did that. I'm so excited. I did everything right today. Keep going. We did the song. Here's Brad said, welcome back from the great. I did all that already. Oh, I know where I'm at. I think I need more coffee. Here's the deal. If any of our fellow T1s would like to take a shot at being my co-host on a shot. Oh, that was cute.
Very good.
Oh. I don't get paid for this, so forget about it. So all you have to do if you'd like to be on the show with me, and I would really love to hear from you, and it's really, really easy, send me an email. Just send it to Bonnie at BonnieSher.com. It's that easy, and it's real fast, and it's really quite painless. As opposed to shots. Okay, up next is Boomer News, and today's Boomer News comes to us from the Wall Street Journal, entitled The Economic Impact When Baby Boomers Retire, and views from my soapbox. Back in 60 seconds.
The decision to retire is one of the most important personal financial decisions anyone can make. Well, it turns out that it also has a profound macroeconomic impact that we are only now beginning to appreciate. Economists have known for a long time that as the U.S. population ages, it'll tend to slow down economic growth just because we'll have a smaller workforce as a result. But there's new evidence that suggests there's another impact on the economy that's potentially even more important. Because older workers tend to be the most knowledgeable and the most experienced, when they retire, that hurts the productivity of everybody left behind. And that drags on the economy through productivity growth. These findings come from a new economic research paper that just came out in the last week. The economists looked at all 50 states, they looked at the ones that aged faster, and they found that in those states, economic growth slowed more. About a third of the slowdown was because their workforce wasn't growing as quickly, but the rest of it was because the remaining workers just weren't as productive. You know, this kind of makes sense. Older workers aren't just the ones who are most experienced and capable, they also tend to make the people around them more capable and more confident and knowledgeable about how to do their jobs. If you look around the country right now, there are employers from coast to coast grappling with the fact that some of their most experienced employees are now coming up on retirement, and they're very worried about how to replace them. There's a lot of sort of tribal knowledge that you acquire on the job that you cannot simply teach in college. The country as a whole needs to come to grips with this, because if it doesn't, it's facing a double whammy from the aging of the population. This, I think, adds an extra impetus to a lot of the discussion now that we should do more to extend retirement ages, both in private pensions and in Social Security.
Welcome back. Just in time for my views from my soapbox. Yes, which is my take on who's to be congratulated, and my shout down as well, who should really be ashamed of themselves. So let's get started. I'd like to shout out to Dr. Stephen Ponder, who has come up with a marvelous program for youngsters with diabetes called Sugar Surfing, as well as I mentioned a moment ago, the Beatties brothers, both Dr. Ponder and the Beatties brothers organized drives for supplies and medications for the victims of Harvey and then drove them to the victims. So thank you for what you did. We're all in this together one way or the other. Now, not all of us, however. I found one guy clearly not part of us. And my shout down, as opposed to all that good stuff that happened 2 seconds ago, now there's this Florida sheriff in Polk County, big city here, who has said that he's going to arrest anyone who has a warrant who tries to go to the shelters. What is this guy drinking? I don't know, but if you want to read about it and get sicker, it was written up by the Orlando Weekly. So now, before we say goodbye, I want to thank you all for being with me. And I really want to thank my guests, Debby K. and my dear Brad Slaight. And that's our show, and I hope you'll return next week, and me too, for another 15 minutes of a trip through the land of Bonnie, Boomers, and the T1D community. Until then, please visit BonnieSher.com. Follow the #1 Bonnie Sher on Twitter and like the Bonnie Sings Lena fan book page on Facebook. I know a lot of you are aware of the special role that Sammy Davis Jr. played in my career. Not only was he my mentor, but he was my friend, and I'd like to end every show with sort of a Carol Burnett style wink and nod to you, Mr. D. Thank you for everything. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.